Hola, buenos días.
Hello and good afternoon. I am extremely pleased to facilitate this panel discussion on 10 years of Wayra. I have been very privileged to be in the project since the very beginning, since it sounded like a crazy idea. I've seen it grow, I've seen it evolve, and I've been part of it in the last 10 years. It is a big pleasure to mark this 10th anniversary here in Barcelona with 4 years with mobile, everything united. The last travel we did in the framework of Wayra was to travel to Barcelona in the tech spirit last year. In Wayra, we've been redefining rules for 10 years. We were founded on the idea of supporting innovators. Telefónica would not be where it is without being an extremely innovative company. 10 years ago, we concluded that we could innovate from within, but also outside in. We had to open our doors and windows to the marvelous things that were happening around the world and working with entrepreneurs to build a better future. We have invested in more than 900 companies around the world, companies that are building value and providing value for our more than 350 million customers around the world. Companies that have contributed with more than 228 billion euros. We invest in companies, and the return on investment is incredible. Every €1 that we invest, 10 years, the return on investment is 9 on 1. So we've had our ups and downs. Wayra is crazy. Last year, we were locked down, but Wayra moves on. And in the context of the pandemic and the remote working, we had to reinvent ourselves and our medium. And we decided to launch 2 new lines during the pandemic. Quite incredible. Wayra has an investment vehicle, and we immediately concluded that we were missing things. That's why we launched Wayra X, which is an initiative in which we invested in fully digital startups with high growth models, 2C growth models, that we were oftentimes neglecting due to the 2B bias that we were locked in. But in Telefónica, we've sold platforms to customers, but oftentimes our platforms have not been successful in the past. That's why we want to build startups based on Telefónica technology, and we want to co-fund these startups with entrepreneurs. And I'm going to leave it here because the best way to speak about Wayra and how we've grown. I'm the best. I'm so happy in Telefónica because I'm surrounded by entrepreneurs. And I will share them with you. Today we have the pleasure to count on the collaboration of Paul, founder and CEO of Cynic, Isabel, co-founder and CEO of Shadow, and David, People CEO. 3 big companies, Wayra, Wayra Builder, Wayra X. Welcome. And I will start with the questions. Paul, tell us a little bit more about Cynic. Well, Cynic was born 7 years ago. I lived in Argentina for a while, and once I was trying to watch a volleyball match with my dad, who lived in London. We were split by 10,000 kilometers watching the same game, and I called my dad through Skype back in 2013, and we were discussing about the match, and I asked myself, why is it that TV, OTT, why is TV, OTT, and communications not united? So I was working in MTV back then. I left, and we founded Cynic in 2013. Today, Cynic is the lead Watch Together provider, BT Sport, Hong Kong Telecom in Hong Kong, NPO, and many more. So that's what Cynic does. Wow. And now, do you still watch TV with your dad? Absolutely. Absolutely. During the lockdown, we've been doing that all the time. Absolutely. Isabel, you're in a completely different market, in a completely different segment. Tell us a little bit more about it. Well, Shadow is a technology stemming from a need. Day after day, we see document leaks. So we aimed at providing companies with an extra security layer to ensure that sensitive documents that oftentimes escapes our control, and we don't really know where it comes from, right? Where the leak comes from. So we wanted to develop a tool for companies to trace document leaks. So our company inserts invisible watermarks in documents just in case there is a document leak, so we can trace where it comes from, where this leak comes from, with a simple scan, with a picture. And our watermarks are invisible to human eye, but even when the document is printed, the watermark is still there. So, yep. Now you, David, what do you do in People? Well, People is much more simple than that. Thank God. People is a recommendation application, recommendations-based application, old-fashioned, right? We provide our users the possibility to check recommendations, to ask for recommendations about what restaurant to go, what film to watch, what series to watch, right? So it's a recommendations-based platform. And the idea of People is that the opinions of those we trust are the opinions that have the most value for us, and the ones that are going to help us take a purchase decision, make a purchase decision. That's what People is about. Wow. So for our colleagues, our partners in Telefónica, those who work in a large company, a corporate company, I would like you to tell us a little bit more about how you ended up deciding to found these companies. You're a corporate lawyer, a manager lawyer, so leader in purchase and acquisition. So how did you decide to change jobs? I believe all lawyers wish to not be a lawyer and do something else. So that was an easy decision. Well, in my case, it was similar. My work as a lawyer, my work in the banking sector. In the past, you are at the end line of a service, right? You are an important player, nonetheless, at the end of the value chain. And I wanted to be at the beginning of the value chain. I've always wished to be at the beginning of the value chain. So I had my own ideas, like everyone does, right? So what happened was that I was lucky enough, due to the people that I was working with, to have these very techy friends and colleagues. And as I told you before, the idea behind People is very easy. It's a very simple idea. It's the, mouth to ear. Why not gathering and managing all this information, which is so valuable for us, why not bringing it up to a digital environment, to a mobile phone, which is at our disposal all day long? And everyone's like, yeah, well, you're right. It makes all sense. So thank God I didn't decide to go to Mars, to colonize Mars, right? Because the idea I had about astronautic was exactly the same one as developing an app. But I ended up setting this app. It's growing exponentially thanks to Wayra and Wayra X support. So that's been amazing. Thank you very much for that. And we're thrilled to become a world referent in the recommendation application. Isabel, your story is a little bit different. Tell us, how is it to co-develop an application or a startup hand in hand with a corporation, in this case Telefónica. Tell us a little bit more about it. So when Kike and Fair from Venture told me a little bit more about the project and showed me the draft project they had in hand or in mind, I was fascinated. It was based in an available technology with their own customers. Nonetheless, rethinking the model on the basis of that technology, a new business model, not so much focused on research and development in developing the technology from scratch. So the idea was to rethink the existing technology, using the existing technology to improve it in a new environment and thus developing a new product. So I was asked to join the project and I joined immediately and we got hands-on immediately. We started working together, finding for new partners, not only monetary partners, but also Telefónica with its expertise and what's inside a big corporation like Telefónica. And we were looking for other partners that could contribute, that could add value, bring added value. So we started to look for funding, of course. It was a very harsh work, right, to develop the company before the end of the year. And on we went. We started hiring the team members to start developing a scalable product that can be sold. And to be honest, counting on Telefónica's support and Wayra's support has been amazing. One of the most important elements that I would like to underline is that technical expertise and the knowledge you have in-house in Telefónica is just amazing, an amazing opportunity for a startup. So I feel extremely privileged counting on your big brother, so to speak, who supports you whenever you need something, has been amazing, has been key in our endeavors. So I believe our life has been easier than those of other entrepreneurs who are not as lucky as I've been to be working hand in hand with a big corporate company. So Paul, you had a cool job in MTB. Well, perhaps not so cool, but it's easier than being an entrepreneur, isn't it? Of course, you know the history with my dad and the volleyball match. So 2 weeks after the anecdote, I was at my father-in-law's, and it was Oscars night, and my mother-in-law picked up the phone, called her sister, who lives in Neuquén in Argentina, and they started discussing about the Oscars on the phone. And I was like, well, my generation uses Skype, and her generation uses the phone. But at the end of the day, it's all the same, right? It's about communication. It's about communicating with your family about what you're watching in TV. And that's when I decided to quit MTV with another colleague from MTV. And it was really difficult to start. This is my second startup. I had a startup in 1998 when it was called World Wide Web, right? When things were still World Wide Web. So what I did was to read Startup Nation on Israel, and then I took my savings and traveled to Israel, and I visited the Startup Nation. We achieved the first joint venture. They helped us a great deal, and then we had to struggle. But with very few resources at the beginning, we had no investment. We just invested all our savings. Then Startup Chile supported us also. Then on 2018, Puerto Rico. So little by little, we raised the company. Our company has been in the market for 8 years, so we've had to wait until this wave, the wave that we have all endured. I understand the COVID-19 wave, that is, and that's how we raised some capital from RG Ventures. So we started some pilot projects, etc. We have a very funny anecdote that we want to discuss with you. We have an office in Wayra Weeks, and Paul attended a Wayra Week in Argentina, yeah, and also in Chile. So quite amazing, isn't it? We're paying much more, that's also true, because, well, now it's a time to market, isn't it? COVID has brought an incredible acceleration to the digitization process, hasn't it? Absolutely. Back in 2018, we were doing some trials with BT Sport, commercial partner, but BT Sport and UMA were already launching trials. So it was not 100% COVID, but for sure, COVID-19 has accelerated digitization. David, let me switch to you. You've closed an operation recently. I believe you've had to take the dust out from your lawyer book. One of the big ones in the Spanish environment joined you. 21 buttons. So 21 was a big company. How is a big company? So what do you get from that experience? I believe it was a very logical evolution of the two companies. 21 Buttons had already started in Barcelona a couple of years ago, and the thing is that they are a very vertical company. They were very much focused in the fashion segment. We had a similar approach, and last year we started discussing about the possibility of doing things together. So we're not vertical, we're very horizontal. And I believe that we were well. So we discussed the situation, and they had gone through incredible investment rounds, but basically I believe that the conclusion of the situation was logical, right? The strategy, the plan was imposed more than the money. So we have now joined ventures, even if we are the acquiring company, and now we are in a full integration process. This is something that needs to be experienced, right? Avoided. No, I'm joking, I'm kidding. But once again, it's a very cool project. All the team is very much thrilled, and it's been an incredible push for us all. Let's now focus on challenges. I believe you all face challenges this year. Well, you are faced to an incredible growth pattern. Isabel, what is your challenge? We have been discussing about product. Where do you want to bring the company, and what are your short-term challenges? Well, the main short-term challenge, has to do with the business model. We are now selling the product. We're in the market, and we have to make sure we perform a logical rotation, see if it works, if it doesn't work, if we need to reach new partnerships or not. We need to go through the marketing process. We need to see how the product matches the market, because there is a clear interest for the technology and for the product, but we need to adapt it to our customers' needs. We've done an incredible step forward in terms of developing a ready-to-market product, a ready-to-sell product, and I urge you to use it and provide us our feedback also, because it will be extremely inspirational. I'm sure we're gonna learn a lot from your feedback, and we need to adapt the product to other markets and segments. That's the main challenge we have. Now, Paul, tell me a little bit more about the future of TV. Tell us a little bit more about how is the experience that you are defining. One of the anecdotes that fascinates me is when you told us that you broadcasted Eurovision in co-watching this year. So tell us a little bit more about how people are experiencing the service. Oh, absolutely. we did that. We did Eurovision for our customers in Germany, in Finland, and MPO in the Netherlands. They all used our technology. In Germany, there were thousands and thousands of virtual rooms, people watching TV together. Let me give you a few examples. 70% of people join others when they want to watch, for example, Eurovision. 15% of viewers are, well, 88 minutes on average. So this panel discussion lasts for 30 minutes. So the virtual rooms, on average, last for 3 hours and a half, right? So it's incredible. So the feedback we obtained we're not having synchronization problems. There are no synchronization problems. Our software, thanks to an API, synchronizes everything, right? So you don't need to go like 3, 2, 1, play. Everything is synchronized, and that's the feedback we got. So now we're doing Euro, and we're also doing Hong Kong Telecom. We have another privacy problem. It's like inviting someone at your place, at your home, and ask them to sit down in your sofa, but it's a virtual sofa. So yeah, going back to the future, telco. So how is the future of TV? How is it? How are my children going to look TV in a few years? Are going to watch TV in a few years? I don't like speaking about 5G age. So how do I want to see things in the future? I want to see, I was born in Poland. I want to be able to watch TV with my friends in Poland, and I want to see them in form of an hologram. So for that we need edge, right? We need servers close to base stations, because the rendering of a hologram is very heavy, and it needs latency, processing, etc. So I start with what I want, right? It's like our ancestors, they joined around a fire to share stories. So we need to do the same, but in 5G. When is that going to happen? 4 years from now? So holograms. Instead of inviting friends home, well, it's not like I don't want people to move around, of course. Why not? This is not for everybody, right? But for some, when it's expensive to travel, now we all are concerned about the environment, so it's an option, definitely. So David, how do you see the future? We can see, I mean, there's a lot going on in direct to consume, brands that are born to be only online in the internet. So how are we evolving as consumers? Well, I believe technology is only trying to enable forms of life that we knew or that we imagined were going to live in the future. So technology at the end of the day is only enabling, is an enabler. In people, we always say that when it's about taking a decision, if we reflect a little bit, we end up concluding that you always know someone who has a perfect answer for what you need. So if you go to Hong Kong and you need a hotel, it's like, oh, I'm sure someone has been here, someone that I know has been here and knows 5 hotels. So the vision we have is that thanks to people and thanks to technology, people will have an easier life, take better decisions, only due to the fact that decisions are better informed or based on more high quality information. Of course, this will be done with a smartphone, but in the near future you will have a headphone and you will have a voice assistant and you will ask your little device, where could I eat today? And the thing will say, oh, you will have the Google glasses that will guide you all the way to the restaurant. And you will go, hi, I'm here on behalf of Paloma. They will go, oh, hi, are you Manolo? Yeah, great, we're waiting for you. Quite incredible. What about the menu? Is there going to be a recommendation for the menu also? But it's not magic. It's just technology. All this information exists. So it's only about developing the technological tools to enable it to work online. I think it's very cool. And it's not black magics or any crazy, stupid thing that we are inventing. Any child could invent this technology. I believe that you're all working to develop this white mirror and not the black mirror. Isabel, I believe that as a woman, I would like to perhaps focus now. Well, Isabel, beyond being the CEO and founder of Shadow and having done 1,000 things in her life, she supports other women. She's an investor. So tell us a little bit more about the importance of diversity in technology. What can we do to go towards a gender-balanced technological environment? Well, we have a problem, and figures show the problem. At the end of the day, the world is diverse. Technology enables things, the basis of technology. I mean, technology is based on programming, and we need programmation teams to be as diverse as possible, because there are stereotypes that are there. It's not like they are heavily intentioned, but it's fundamental to have diversity. We have only 20% of women in the tech sector, in the STEM careers, or in the STEM studies. So from my perspective, I believe that it's very important to disseminate, to share knowledge about what is it that we do, to disseminate information about our everyday life, because it's like any other job, right? Then we have, of course, all humans have a vocation, right? Technology enables people's lives, makes it easier. So all this is possible thanks to the people behind, and we need women behind. So I believe that dissemination, support to women, promoting gender balance in the sector, and the fact that we're in the tech sector does not make us weird. I believe it's very important to inform women, to raise awareness amongst women about how important it is to bring more women into the sector. I believe that more and more we're raising our voice. Paul, I would like to add something. I am oftentimes invited to speak, but I always ask the women in my team to attend conferences. They always call us the CEO. Of course, here it had to be me, but now I'm always recommending Natalia to attend conferences, so that it's not always the same male face, right? The CEO, the white straight male CEO. Typical profile. In our company, we speak 19 languages. I mean, amongst us all, right? So why monopolizing everything? Absolutely the role model. At some given point, we all have to ask ourselves questions, right? Oftentimes the profile is a junior profile, and it's very good to have role models. Absolutely, and it's very important also to be there to speak up. Absolutely, it's a must. We can not do it. It's a must. Good. It's about time to close. Thank you very much to all of you, to the three of you. As I said at the beginning of my presentation, it's amazing to have this chats with you, with experts, with entrepreneurs about security, cybersecurity. It's amazing to have the opportunity to see how influencers work also. I believe that what you said, David, is very interesting. It is oftentimes said when technology is advanced, it's like magics, right? So I believe that we have a magician in the team, and we always speak about magics when we speak about Wayra. And I believe today you've shared wide magics with us. Thank you very much to all the three of you.